From Rule 62 Studios in Bossier City, Louisiana, this is The Grouch and the Brainstorm. Welcome back. Matt, welcome back.
What's up? Thank you.
You were on our last episode, weren't you?
I was.
Okay. Well, I'm here with Matt. This is Mike. I've got Jill.
Hey, guys.
And we have Bridget.
Hello.
Hey, nice to meet you, Bridget. Bridget came by the studio this morning to record with us. And hopefully this will be an action-packed 50 minutes worth of...
baby.
Well, it kind of... The day started off action-packed.
Yeah.
First, it started off with me going on my front porch and voila, snake.
You know, as our listeners know, Jill has free-range chickens, right?
And pigs. I let the boys out yesterday. They loved it.
Well,
Wait,
for
they're
me and Matt,
free-range
letting the
pigs?
boys out means something totally different.
Yes.
So,
Air them out.
but Jill has free-range pigs and chickens now, apparently, and so we had a snake.
When I had a farm, I had free range cows was because I was terrible at building fence. That was the problem. They free range whether I wanted them to or not.
Well,
So,
actually, I think everything's pretty much free-range.
yeah,
If you just consider the little space you have in prison,
Right.
freedom,
yeah,
free to move my arm to the left.
yeah. We had a snake, vicious snake attack this morning, but we thwarted that. You know,
I luckily I had forgotten my nunchucks, or I probably would have tore the entire chicken pen up.
I'd have videoed that for you.
No, thank
that would have been a good TikTok.
nothing but wood
Mike
splinters flying
nunchuck.
everywhere. You know what I mean? And then
I'm a Kumite champion.
the end of it, though, the snake would have still been alive.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, yeah, rest in peace.
That's how my
Yeah.
luck goes with it. So, but yeah, so Matt eliminated a snake this morning. I happened out the back door, and it just happened to be crawling up the stairs into the chicken pen, where it would have laid in wait. Actually, it was probably looking for eggs, I would imagine.
I was waiting on Jill to bite her leg off. I'm pretty sure it was a king cobra that we killed. Pretty sure.
Black mamba.
Black Mamba. Yeah, it was something. I don't know. That joker was 3 foot long. I
It
know
was pretty
that.
big, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't as big as the one that we killed a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That one was way bigger. But then my dad said, that's a small one.
That's what old timers always say. Oh, that's nothing. Back in my day, a snake could eat a whole Noah's Ark. You know.
Yeah, well, things get smaller the older we get,
I know,
in more
right?
ways than one.
Oh, my.
Matt, how's it been going?
Man, it's been good. It's been good.
Getting any fishing in there?
No fishing. We went that. No, it's been grass cutting and rehab teching, and that's it. Just nothing but work, really.
Okay,
So,
well, keep you busy.
yeah, it's busy. It's been wide open. That was good. It's that time of year for me. So, but yeah, now that you said fishing, my mind has just drifted off to I should be fishing. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah. So everything's been good. Just rolling along.
Jill, how about you?
Great. Just work, chickens, pigs.
Snakes.
Apparently life on the farm's all well. Bridget, how about you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Bridget. I am from Shreveport, born and raised. Couldn't get away long enough, so always ended up back here. I don't know. What is there to say? Been married for 27 years. Got 2 beautiful grandsons.
Skip the children, went straight to grandchildren.
Yes,
I like that.
yes.
Do that because I need that secret.
Yes.
I like that.
You know, they know how it is.
Well, we're glad you're here. We are glad
Thank
you're
you.
here.
Thank
And
you for having me.
Before we go any further, I do have we have another country. Yeah, we have another country. And this one is, you got one too?
No. I'm just curious.
Oh, this is St. Lucia.
Okay.
What was you thinking? You don't know?
Nothing.
Okay. Well, Lulu. We have another country that's St. Lucia, and actually Amy C. from down in Covington, Mandeville, Madisonville area. She went to St. Lucia. She may still be there. I don't know. But she went there, and while she was there, she listened to our podcast so we could add another country to the list.
Wow.
I
Okay.
saw
pretty
pictures
awesome.
of that trip,
Yeah.
and there were some fish. I was trying to figure out if they caught them on crickets, what they caught them on down there.
I don't think
So,
crickets exist down there.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I was just trying to figure that out, but they didn't look like any fish I'd ever seen before.
What is interesting, okay, is that I've known Amy. She was probably maybe a year sober when I met her, maybe 2, maybe a year and a half. And to see her and her family in those photographs, right, is just amazing. Like and one of the prefaces of the big book talks about reunited families, or reunited homes. Actually, is the way it's quoted. But and that's one of the reasons why people are attracted to AA. And when you look at those pictures and you see Amy and you see her family, and I mean, it's just amazing, because that kind of stuff just wasn't happening when I met her. Now, by the time I left that area and moved off, it had, it started the progress. But just to see the pictures, see the family, that's pretty amazing.
It is.
Yeah. I
agreed.
So, and then, there's like me where you go through another phase where you don't want to be around anybody. The older I get, y'all, I'll pay for y'all's vacation. Just leave me alone, But I appreciate her doing that and listening in down there while she could. Got a lot of feedback. I tell you what, there is 2 stories told, and this isn't to knock anybody that tells their story. I don't want anybody not coming on the show and telling their story. But there are 2 stories that I have gotten more feedback on than anything else. First, LaDon is one of the most listened to episodes out of all of our 63 episodes.
Wow.
Woohoo.
We have a pretty big tribe.
Yes.
She has almost as many listens as our very first episode. I think
Nice.
she may be number 2 in the bag, right? And then Travis's episode was, I guess because I've known him so long, I've heard his story and I've heard him talk and stuff, that it just didn't come across to me as anything other than Travis's story. But man, the listeners, like people coming out of the woodworks, just sending messages and texts and all these other things, and they were like, wow, I'm listening to Travis's story and it's amazing, and I'm thinking, what an inspiration. And so far, that's the most feedback.
Wow.
So if you got feedback, that's another reminder. Give it to us.
My favorite
is
Phil, because it was Phil.
And
he
because
was the first one.
Well, someone asked me the other day who didn't know I had a podcast, and we started talking somehow about it. Asked me, you should get that guy on there that used to come in the store and visit with us. And I was like, who? And finally, when we got down to it, it was Phil. And I said, I think episode 3 is Phil. 3 or 4, we recorded Phil on an iPad, actually. We didn't even have mics.
At the club, yeah.
Sitting in the front room of the club, people walking in and out, and we recorded him on iPad.
Yeah, I wish we had more old-timers.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
They're willing.
Phil too, like, kind of started that of getting people on here, because whether he knows it or not, but he was willing to do it without even knowing what we're doing. Like, he didn't understand, like, what, like Mike
what's a
sets
podcast?
Up the iPad, yeah. And he's like, where's the microphone? And Mike's like, you just talk. It can hear you. Where? And he's leaning down talking to the computer, But like, you talk about courage and things like that. You could tell that he didn't quite know what was going on, but he's like, I'm going to do it. And so when we ask other people down the road, and I'm like, well, Phil did it. And they're like, oh, well, I'll do it then.
And Phil was. He just didn't have, he had a little apprehension, but
Yeah,
man,
sure.
he just rolled with it after it started. So today I thought about a topic. I thought about a couple topics actually, but this is one that I really wanted to. I think I got a birthday coming up in about 2 weeks, and I remember on my second, maybe it was my first birthday. No, my first birthday, I talked about resting on your laurels, because I was really big on rarely have we seen a person fail, so I didn't want to fail. I wanted to follow the path and stick to as close to the path as I could and not default. And after about a year, and the longest period I'd had in my adult life without any alcohol, I started feeling like I got this, and I knew better. That's not a good way to be. So I talked about resting on your laurels. So it must have been my second year. I talked about drama and entertaining drama. And that seems to be something that, first off, Bill talks about in the big book. For this is the how and why. But first of all, we had to quit playing God. It didn't work. Next, we decided that hereafter in this drama of life, God was going to be our director. So he calls life in itself drama. And I guess it would be quite boring if nothing happened. It'd be like watching a movie and people sitting around eating with no conversation or anything. it reminds me of that movie with Zach Galifianakis where he's a politician. Man, I can't even talk about that on air, but it's hilarious. You need to see it.
Will Ferrell.
Is he on there?
Yeah,
Politician.
He's
I'm gonna send you that thing later, Jill.
Okay.
It is freaking hilarious. But anyway, but that's not the kind of drama I'm talking about. And whenever we had Travis on the show and we were doing the thing, I talked about the two truths, and things that I have seen that just are true. One of them was the mannequin. It's never really a mannequin, no matter what you think. Period. Well, I've never in my life. I don't even know where to get a mannequin other than work.
J.C. Penney's.
Yeah, well, you can't buy them. I'm sure if you could, be a couple of our friends that had them riding around the front of their car or bicycle, whatever. Tandem.
Some of them have them or go by a different name.
Anyway, yeah, that's where I thought you was going with that, Matt. But you, try. Anyway, the second one is something is not always wrong. Something is not always wrong, and we run across people in life, and something is always wrong. Now, that is definitely just not specific to the class of alcoholics. That's anybody, right?
Right.
Some people have to have things wrong. Phil F. used to call them energy vampires, and they get around you and they just, they got so much going on. It just sucks the life out of you. And it seemed like when I got into the rooms, I had to stay away from that. I couldn't entertain gossip. It doesn't matter to me who's doing what and when they're doing it. I can't stay sober, right? I cannot stay sober by myself for 24 hours, but yet I can entertain a conversation about Betty Lou and Joe Blow sitting in a corner over there, which is none of my business, right? Drama happens, okay? And things do happen, though. Things really happen. Show up for life. We have to show up for life. And, but entertaining certain drama for me was dangerous because it was letting me lose focus on my recovery. So now, a few years down the line, I don't even pay attention to a lot of that. I'll leave that to the newcomers. But if they're my sponsee, we ain't gonna entertain it either. But just drama and how we handle drama, good drama, bad drama, constant drama. What do you do with drama?
Well, bad drama, avoid. I have never in my whole entire life been a fan of it. I just don't do it. I don't like gossip. I don't like any of it. And it's always there. It will always be there. I just don't have the energy for it. Especially in this state of, my recovery is like my mental health and peace and serenity mean more to me than any kind of junk that is out there. I surround myself with amazing women and men that also don't. It's just clutter to me. And I don't have time for it. And that's basically, but like good drama, yeah, why not? I'm trying to think of good drama, like the snakes. I mean, I'm having some snake drama going on right now.
I'm glad the event happened, right? Because that kind of shows the things we can entertain.
Yeah.
Now,
and I don't know.
Now, Matt, the longer it goes from today, that snake's going to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and deadlier. and he ate 3 people before I killed him.
How he took the life of it.
Rescued a child
went
away
with
from
bare hands.
Yeah.
Completely
Didn't even have
Chuck
a gun.
Norris on this thing.
Yeah. Just wait, guys. Just wait.
I'm just messing.
I'm already thinking of it.
Matt does not exaggerate except for when it comes to fishing, and he actually under exaggerates because he says he catches a lot less than he actually does.
Yeah.
And that's for legal purposes.
I catch all
the game wardens listen to this too.
When I get hot on fishing, guys, I catch all my fish in bunches, like of 1 and 0. That's kind of how I catch them. So you can ask my sponsor about that.
Back to good drama.
Yeah.
Okay. You're sitting in, Matt made me think about that. You're sitting in a boat with your sponsor. You got some stuff going on in your life you need to talk about. Whether you're the sponsor or the sponsee, that needs to be said. It needs to get out there, right? Now, I created a lot of my own drama whenever I was drinking. Created just I don't know, say a lot. I created all of my own drama.
Right.
To be quite honest with you. I mean, if I'd have got cirrhosis, I created it.
Yeah.
You know, it just happened. So, you know, that probably needs to be discussed with a sponsor. But we also have it where people come in and they'll sit on a row and AA and talk to everybody on the row, you know, and this is what's going on. And the next thing you know, it's a pity party. And I hope I don't lose any listeners because of this. I don't. And by the way, I'm not specifically talking about any one person out there. If you're one of our listeners and you hear me talking about this, it ain't you. Or is it? You know, I don't know. It's up to you, I guess, to decide if you fall in the category. But, you know, so Bridget, what about you? How do you approach drama?
Well, you know, it was funny when you started talking about it. When I got here, loved it. I thrived off of it. It kept me here. You know, when I first got here, I was sitting in a meeting and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my life forever. It's going to be boring around here. And there was a few women, and it was an all-women's meeting, and one told the other one, I am going to need you to quit double dipping and triple dipping. And she turned around and just called her something, and I was like, oh, yes, I belong here.
God, I love you, Bridget.
But right after that, they said, okay, we're going to go eat lunch. And I'm like,
But
what? I need more.
we're not taking this outside? Like,
Can I go with y'all?
Parking lot.
Because there's got to be a climax to this. And there wasn't. And that's the part of recovery that, you know, you learn after time. You know, I mean, but it was, I'll never forget. And I lived in, you know, a halfway house. So there was plenty of drama with a house full of women.
Yeah.
All the time. And I thrived off of it. I was in the middle of it, probably the spoon stirring the pot. So, totally opposite.
And I can see that. Some people have to have it. You know, it's man, I love my mom to death, you know, but and she's not a drama queen, none of that stuff. But she had her shows she had to watch every day. You know, she had to watch All My Children at 12, One Life to Live at 1, General Hospital at 2.
Yes.
And then it was off to take care of my dad. And then, you know, here we go at 7, 8, and 9, another, you know, that Dynasty, Knots Landing, Dallas, back when it was on, the whole, you know, and that was the kind of drama, you know, she had to have it. She lived in it. You know, and she ain't alone, believe me, because I mean, I was like 11 years old, and I love that crap too. To be quite honest with you,
I really
they let me skip school. To
watched
watch
a lot of All My Children.
I
Remember,
skipped school quite often.
remember Tad?
Yeah, Tad and Asa and
He's a Buchanan.
yeah. Oh yeah, you playing a game now, Joey. Okay, General Hospital. Y'all probably don't remember General Hospital whenever they had the
Sonny.
Ice Princess. I don't know who Sonny is.
What?
Sonny, he was like the mafia dude, right?
I think
What?
you're talking about
Yes,
Sonny
yes.
Corleone. That's a
Different show. That's more my area. Effectively, I have no idea what y'all are talking about on these soap operas.
Oh, you know, my friend down in Mandeville, and I'm not going to say her name because I've never said it on here, but I remember her telling me about her first meeting of AA.
Okay.
And I guess she came in scared because she's been sober, by the way, I want to say 19 years. I may be wrong, but I've been gone from there 2 years, and she was about 17 then. So let's say 19 years, pretty good amount of time. And her very first meeting, though, she was reading. First off, she found AA in like the newspaper. You know, do you have a problem?
Oh.
And then she went and found. I don't know how that happened. You know, I never even asked her. You know, but I've never seen it advertised. But anyway, she found it in a newspaper, and she goes to the local clubhouse, which is not too far from where the current one is. And the current one's been there for a long time, right off of Lake Pontchartrain. And anyway, she goes there, and ultimately, like the people in there just kind of chew her out about, you know, just how uncomfortable. I mean, she's confused, she's scared, and instead of embracing her, I mean, and this was her very first meeting, and I don't know if she stayed or went back out for a little bit, or when you say back out, I mean you literally out the door because it's one meeting. But I don't know if she stayed after that and just kept weathering the storm or what happened. But that very first meeting, there was so much drama in that meeting. I know she did say she just cried.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't have went back.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That is horrible.
Yeah.
And, you know, that sucks because there's meetings out there like that, you know, what we call them,
bad meetings.
sick meetings. Well, there's sick meetings, there's sick houses as far as halfway houses, and that deters a lot of people from getting sober. Because I remember when I was in treatment, God bless the drama. There was a bunch of, younger girls that were just constantly stirring up stuff and I just was like,
Was I there?
Huh?
Was I there?
no, but I just thought it was crazy because I'm over here like trying to live. Like it was the fight of my life. I cried every day because I thought I was going to die. I knew I was going to die. And then you got girls rattling on about the boys in treatment and sneaking around the corner, making out with them at night. And I was like, dude, I've got way bigger fish to fry. Mm-hmm. And I just remember thinking that was crazy. Like, this is what you're here for?
Yeah, and I think people early in recovery, and getting out and trying to go into meetings and find somewhere to go, I tell them all the time, I'm like, don't walk in there and think that there's this golden light going to shine on that meeting and everyone is living the love of God and all this. It may not be, man. Go keep bouncing till you find your spot.
I agree. Yeah.
And
I keep coming back.
you ain't got to judge. And I know I've been in meetings at great places with great people that somebody got rubbed the wrong way and it got a little sideways. But overall, that group's great all throughout the year. But if it had been a first timer sitting there, they'd have been like, "What are we doing here?"
Right.
And that's all I can say. If you're new, just keep coming in there and checking it out. And none of us in there are perfect, and we all have things we have to work on. But like drama, to me, there's drama, and then there's actual life happening. So,
Right.
Someone passing away or going through a divorce or all those things, that's not drama. That's life,
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to deal with that drama. And Bobby is my sponsor. He's been on here. He has a saying, not my monkey, not my circus.
Yep.
Right.
That's kept me so much peace over the years because I look at things automatically now and go, is this something that has to do with me? Is this going to affect me in any way? If it doesn't, I bounce.
Yeah,
I'm out.
bye.
I don't give it another thought. I don't care. If it's not harming me or someone close to me, and that's not my issue. And just keeps me out of that kind of stuff. And I think people, like you said, people, especially early on, they're so used to that type stuff in our addiction.
Exactly.
That they go, oh, well, I recognize this. Now we're going to do it sober. No, you're not,
Right.
And
Well, it's about changing those behaviors.
sure.
And, I remember my one of my first sponsors, Marlon, God, I loved her, but she's, no longer with us, but she'd always say, stay in your hula hoop.
Yeah.
That's what she'd say to people. And I was like, right on.
Actually, we had a hula hoop at the halfway house I was in. No, I had to wear it a couple of times. I mean, it taught me a lot of things. Stay in your own hula hoop, and I'm like, darn. Okay, well, let's just have a party with the hula hoop.
With me and myself. Well, and it just goes to show you, like, okay, what you can and what you cannot control. I can't control what other people say or what they do, but what I can control is how I react to it and what I do. And so, I just choose to do really nothing.
And drama can be having an issue with a person in a meeting. They get upset. And then me going, I need to make sure they're not upset with me. Well, if I did what I'm supposed to do then let it go. I'm not God. I don't get to control what they think about me or don't like me. And man, the more I practice that, the better off things have been.
And that's hard for people like us because we're so sensitive and also self-centered, and as we automatically say, it is about us.
Someone doesn't like me? Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, some people aren't. So they're not going to like me.
And it's progress, not perfection. And everybody's growing at their own speed. And, things won't necessarily, come to fruition until they're ready for it. Mm-hmm. Right. And, I've been in enough meetings and home groups to see it happen. I mean, I'm just talking like blowouts in after meetings and stuff like that. And you're just like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah,
This is not what we're about.
And you know, a lot of drama can be avoided for us personally. For me personally, how about that? I can only talk about me. If I just mind my own business,
Yep.
just mind my own business, even though I have the greatest intentions in the world for you. Okay, you don't need to hear what I have to say,
Yeah.
or do you? I don't know.
Well, even if you did, it's none of my business what you think.
For me to mind my own business means I mind my own business.
Yeah.
You know, and I do that. I actually do that in my personal life. I do that quite a lot.
Yeah.
I have found minding my own business is one of the greatest things ever.
Wouldn't it be nice if everybody did that?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I had I'll give you an example. Went through a divorce, you know, going through that and all that entails. And my ex-wife doesn't listen to this show, so I'm just going to say it anyway, what the situation was. But she texted me in the middle of all this.
Until now.
Right. I was thinking
she'll
the same
tune
thing,
in now.
Mike.
See you in court, you know.
There's some
anyway.
more drama.
But she texted me one time about wanting to borrow some money, right? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm about to blast off on this, right? And I text I didn't respond at first, and I let it go. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. And it made me mad, but I was like, I'm going to act like I didn't even get the text. Then that afternoon, I get the text again. Hello, are you? And I was like, oh, the ball is sitting on the tee ready for me to knock it out of the park. But I called my sponsor first, and I said, hey, she's asking me about borrowing money. And he goes, just say no. And I was like, here's what I'm going to tell her. I'm going to tell her, blah, 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 blah. And he goes,
So
no.
the drama
He
starts
said
right
it's
there.
2 letters, N and O. That's it. You just say no. And I went, well, that's not no fun. And
Exactly.
yeah. He goes,
Exactly.
you don't have to explain it. You don't have to give an explanation. You don't have to add extra stuff to it. No. So I did. It hurt my fingers to type N-O because I want to be like, so let me tell you. But I didn't. And it ended well. But that's learning to keep myself. There could have been drama started right there that could have went on for months over something so stupid. But, that was it. Moved on.
It grows. Drama grows.
But practicing that stuff, practicing, and I don't do it great all the time, but now when I hear just unnecessary junk, it's just like, I can't deal with it. It's like, I don't want to be around it. I just don't.
Well, or even hearing it. I mean, just not even being necessarily engaged in it, but you're just standing there and then it pops up and you're just like, you write it just like you could feel the negativity just oozing throughout your pores and bones and all, and you just kind of walk off like, no thanks.
Well, also what I was thinking about is one of the signs of growth, right? If you watch people come in, and we've all been around long enough to do that, you watch people come in, and of course in the very beginning, there's probably going to be a lot of drama. Right. Most people have back problems. They got whatever. I want my kids back or my husband back or, the jail's on me or whatever. Most people have that whenever they get, that's to be expected. Even their shares may reflect that. Okay. Whenever they share, and they talk about stuff because they're trying to get, first off, there's nothing wrong with that. You need to feel comfortable with the people you're in there with because these people are saving your life. If somebody comes up to you after the fact and says, you need to talk about that with your sponsor, that's talk about that with your sponsor. But if you've got something to say in a meeting, say it, right? Get it out. Nobody's going to have the proper input. Nobody's going to tell you what you want to hear, but you may need to get it out. So with that being said, as they grow, though, those shares go from being all this drama-filled life stuff. Then they go into you can just see it happen all the time in these rooms. And then they go into the positive side. Hey, I got to see my kids for the first time in a long time. Or, hey, I got my parents invited me over to dinner. Or, hey, whatever, I'm getting married. I've heard that before in meetings. Poor bastard. But
Mike.
we move on and, we go. But as we move, we hear these. And then it becomes more of God's stories. more of, hey, so we got through the drama, then we processed some of the, our behavior changed. People started trusting us. Our lives got a little better. And then we move on to the God stories, which is where we get to share that experience, and someone in that room may hear it, and we help them. And that's that just the 3 stages.
Right. It's kind of the evolution of
that's just what
getting
I've seen.
sober.
Now, there are folks who we see come in, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular. For real, I'm not. But we see them come in, and that drama stuff goes on for 2 years.
6
But
Sometimes longer.
But
yeah.
6 years, Jill. But they're in and out as well, right? They come in, they go out. They come in, they go out. This AA thing ain't working. Well, first off, it doesn't work if you don't work it. But you see that, and then you see people come in who, hey, this is what's going on. People come in, they're worried about losing their husband and their family, or their wife and their family, and they do. After a certain amount of time, they end up, hey, the divorce is final today. But you also get to see them work through that, and then on the other side, and then 10 years later, they're married to someone else, and they're going on a vacation to whatever, and totally, and you remember that person that was sitting in there crying all those years ago. It is an evolution that I see. This is just from experience of sitting in rooms, but we go from that, but we got to distance ourselves from the drama.
Yeah. But from what I gather from what you're saying, it sounds like we need it, because if we don't come from that, then
Can't stay in it.
Well, right. I mean, like we're growing, and so I think we're all kind of like born, or not born, but trying to remove ourselves from all of the drama to be a better person. And I think it's important that we share our personal drama, because that's part of our experience. Like you said, gives other people hope that you made it through that. And look at you. Look at you right now. Look how peaceful and happy you are.
Thank you, Jill.
Tell you who ain't happy, that snake I shot while ago, that anaconda that was out there crawling in
there it
It
is.
almost had
family.
that full-blown
He
pig
ain't happy.
and its jowls.
Hey,
that
Whatever a jowl is.
rescued. Hey, I will say on drama as well. Went to a meeting in the city 6 months ago. Not my normal group. Never been to this place.
What city?
Shreveport.
And you've never been to the place?
I've never been to this particular one.
Tell us.
oh, okay.
And went with a sponsee. Never been. The guys in sober living just got out of treatment. We go, sit down, and this meeting's been around a long time, but sit down. There's about 15 people in it, and the topic of this meeting was newcomers. And basically, I guess it was how bad they suck,
Oh my gosh.
It was the worst thing I've ever experienced. And they started with the guy chairing the meeting, and they went around talking about newcomers doing this, newcomers doing that. And it was like a go down the line share. And I'm the last chair by the door. There was steam coming out of my ears about halfway through that. And I kept looking over at this other guy. They didn't know us. We showed up just as the meeting was started, sat down right inside the door. Comes all the way around. Evidently these folks, and some of them 10 plus years of sobriety that we're sharing, gets around to us. I'm the last one to go. And they went, "What about you?" And I went, "This is my first day, and I'm out. I'm never coming back." And I got up and walked out. And 2 of them followed me out of the parking lot. "We're sorry." I said, "No, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever
Can
heard
we
in
at
my
least
life."
have your $1?
Yeah. And I was shocked, and talking about group.
These people have recovery? How long they have?
One of the people had 10 years of sobriety.
Wow.
10 years. I mean, they had years. This wasn't like.
Well, you have to tell me later where this was.
I will. But
do I know it?
I ain't going back. Yeah, you know it. I ain't going back. I can tell you that. I won't recommend anybody else go back.
There is one clubhouse in Shreveport that I had a newcomer years ago. Man, this guy's been, it's been a long time ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago. And he was a brand newcomer, and he was really big into AA. And I would not, at that particular time, and still pretty much now with the guys I work with, I don't do anything outside of the big book. Just kind of like, if he has a problem in life or something, we just go to the big book. We just by the time we find it, don't forget what the problem is. But that's in most cases. But anyway, I would only go by the big book, and he got to where he started memorizing the big book, which good or bad, I don't know. Just it doesn't help if you don't practice the program. But he went to a clubhouse over there in Shreveport, and he started quoting the big book, and stuff like that. And they blasted him. They just land blast him. He said he's never going back, to that. And then I haven't seen him, the young man, in years, right? I just haven't talked to him, but that had actually happened to him. And I'm not knocking the clubhouse or anything. That just could have been that meeting.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just AA. Sometimes you walk into a bad meeting.
But my thinking on that, I'm sorry, my thinking on that was, we have a business meeting at my home group. When there's issues that have to do with facilitating or doing those meetings, we go in those business meetings and we can talk about it. And we can get up and hug at the end of the meeting and go on, whatever the decision is made. But that's the place to do those type things. That's what that's there for, is to correct, not to sit in an open meeting where people's life is on the line and bitch about the people whose life's on the line.
Yeah.
I've never heard anything like that, and I was just so
I'm glad you brought that up. And Bridget, feel free to jump in anytime you want.
I'm interrupting her. I keep interrupting her.
Oh, but AA politics, okay, and we'll get back to that because I think Bridget got something to say. But AA politics is something that you need to be ready for if you're gonna go into that category of. And I did it for I don't know. I've only been out of it for about a year now, but I've done it since I was 4 years sober. So for 9 years, I was involved in some form or another in AA or Koala Club. How about that? Koala Club politics, because the Koala Club itself is not AA. It's just a nonprofit organization. But being in AA politics, you have to be able to separate the vision, because we can read about it in the 12 and 12 where it talks about the group conscience, and whether we like it or not, that's a group conscience. That's how our decisions are made in AA. But the politics of it can be sometimes dramatic, and that may not be for everybody.
It's not. It's not my favorite thing about it, but it is a necessary service that has to be performed. And I think everybody, if you're new and you get in here for a few years, you should involve yourself in that kind of stuff, maybe on a short-term basis, because it's good to see how the thing churns and how it works. But it is definitely not for everybody. It's not for me either.
Yeah.
I'm not too big on it. I've done some stuff and not my favorite thing, but it's part of it, and somebody has to do it. And it's funny though, even in that world, and I will say this, with the outside world and the AA world, I'd still rather be in the AA world, because we have a way to look and go, wait a minute, here's the big book. You're acting this way, or I'm acting this way, and we can correct the behavior. So end of the day, we handle it a lot better than the outside world does. We have a way to live and to act right in front of us. So, but yeah.
Well, I mean, Mike pretty much said it. We have a group conscience for a reason. 12 steps and 12 traditions automatically, they bring you to that. I mean, and I am so grateful that Bill W. saw a vision way, way back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, he knows how we are, and some are sicker than others. I was pretty sick when I got here in my way of thinking, but I love the 12 traditions. They probably need to be updated a little bit, but they're there for a reason. And a group conscious, I cannot imagine one of us being in charge of all of AA. That would be something else. That would be some drama.
Exactly.
If you had a non-AA in charge of all of AA, that would be called a cult.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So you have nobody in charge, and it's a free-for-all, and it works.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's the most unorganized, organized thing ever.
To me, you got to
really
have
is.
some kind of divine. You know what you do. You got to have some kind of divine inspiration in that. It's somehow, right? Whether you believe in or not believe in, there's something going on there, because that just does that business model per se is not designed to work, but it works. And
Right.
you also have to have a lot of desperation.
Well, and it also, I was thinking, I hate that you had that experience, going into a meeting like that. But I think in step 12, showing, my experience, strength, and hope with others, my job would have been to got up like those other two did and said, they're not all like this. I'm sorry that you had that experience. There are meetings where you have some old timers and you're like, wow, 40 years sober and acting that way. How sad. But we all know that it doesn't matter how long you have. If you're not working the steps and you think you've got this, you're more at risk than the one who is quoting the big book and getting in trouble by someone. Sure. And I really hate y'all had that experience. I'm sure I have too. But I go to old timers because they don't bullcrap me.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
They'll tell me like it is, and I needed that when I got here. I needed to be told, sit down and quit stirring the pot. Put on that hula hoop because you're just stirring it up. And I realized that I am. I'm just a teenager coming in here in a grown woman suit. And so yeah, I mean, and the way I went about it was just reading that big book and reading page 67 every single morning.
So tell us about page 67.
Oh, here we go. I like this.
You go ahead and start it.
I've got it right here.
Pull it up.
All right, let me pull it up right quick. So, you know what? The iPad is not numbered. So page 6, hang on, let me see. The iPad's not numbered like a regular big.
And see there, I faltered just a little bit. I just know the page number.
Oh, that's okay. We're going to find it here one way or another. Page 67. Oh, I should have put, it pops up first. AA pops up without even putting AA. Though we did not like their symptoms and the way they disturbed us, they, like ourselves, were sick too.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kind of makes you feel bad about wasting that snake, huh, Matt?
No, it doesn't.
It was just out there looking for a meal.
It's not anymore.
Well, something will.
I cured hunger for that snake.
We ask God to help us show them the same tolerance, pity, and patience that we would cheerfully grant a sick friend. When a person offended, we said to ourselves, "This is a sick man." Obviously, person. How can I be helpful to him? God save me from being angry. Thy will be done. And that's just a part. This is actually some really good stuff. Mm-hmm. I should probably read the big book more.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, maybe they deserve a prayer.
We avoid retaliation or argument. I'm gonna tell you this real quick story. I was in a meeting one time, and I had a sponsee sitting next to me, and he had about 6 months, maybe a year, and we were all sitting there in a meeting, and he said that this guy was disrupting the meeting. Okay, he was openly passing gas in the meeting.
Nice.
Talking loud, kept getting up and going to the bathroom. Just, mainly it was the passing gas thing that got people. Because, he'd do the kind of belligerent.
That'll get you every time.
Lift his leg. Which I guess it makes less noise.
Hold the lighter.
Frank the Tank. But, and obviously he didn't want to be there. And he had to be there. And, and he got reprimanded a couple times in the meeting. So, and I was kind of embarrassed for the guy, and I had a little bit of time back then. I probably had 8 or 9 years. And
what you do, spray?
So we walked out of the meeting, and I watched my sponsor walk straight to that guy. Okay. And I'd only had this sponsor a few months at the time, but I watched him walk straight to the guy. And then my sponsee comes up and he says, "What do you do in that situation?" I said, "Well, one, if somebody's disrupting the meeting, you ask them to leave or stop disrupting the meeting. And if they continue and won't leave, you call the cops." I said, "But, he stopped about halfway through and there was some drama going on. So what I would do in this situation is exactly what he's doing. He went and asked him his name because no one even knew the guy's name. Let's find out what's going on, before we obviously there's some stomach issues
Mexican
going on. We know the physical problem.
Might have needed the hospital.
Right. But there's a physical problem, but we got to figure out what's making this cat, act like that in a room full of people who are just trying to get recovery, And for some of us, it's just an everyday thing. I just went every day at 6 o'clock. I'd show up at this particular clubhouse, and the meeting was 6 to 7.
He did that every day?
No, but he did it a few times.
Oh, yeah.
But after we got his name and started talking to him, and other people acknowledged his existence, he didn't do that anymore. There was a couple times I'd see him come in and I'd be cringe. I'd be like, oh God, here we go. Let me sit over here. Somebody's gonna get an ass whooping in this meeting. But and I would sit all the way across the. After this particular time when he just came in, he didn't participate, which is great. Whatever you want to do.
Thank God, but his participation.
Well, and I don't know. I will tell you this. Years later, maybe a year later, because he's obviously court ordered. A year later, and I'm not saying that all court ordered people act like that. I'm just saying he didn't want to be there. How about that?
For sure.
But about a year later, I was driving through town, and I noticed him walking down the road, and I don't pick up people. Period. I don't pick up hitchhikers. I don't do none of that. It's just how people get hurt. But I did see him, recognize him, and I pulled over and I gave him a lift down to wherever he was going, and he was really kind. He was really nice and talkful, and so I guess some of the times how we embrace things is just a little bit. It can I don't know. At work we call it what's it called? Not deflation, but when you get involved, de-escalation.
De-escalation.
We call it de-escalation. You kind of keep it.
Well, because
my gut instinct tells me to make it worse.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to do it. I'm going to do it louder. And that's going.
We'll go in there and spray him down with Febreze.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I have to do with my job, and
I can only imagine
if
the
I have
that goes on up there.
Right, de-escalate. I'm going to talk to them. Hey, man. Because a lot of them feel like they're not understood, and a lot of it is, attention-seeking behavior and whatnot. But just sometimes when they feel validated and heard, that's all they need.
Mm-hmm.
And we destroy, it says right here, Bill says it, or whoever wrote this chapter, we avoid retaliation or argument. We wouldn't treat sick people that way. If we do, we destroy our chance of being helpful. And aren't we supposed to be helpful? I think we are supposed to be helpful.
I could not agree more with that.
Even to that ASS hole that we have to deal with sometimes, right? Well, we do. We come into contact with people who are just complete jerks.
Yeah.
But our job is not to judge them.
Well, go ahead. Okay. The one that really gets me the most is we are a meeting to help people with alcohol problems. And if someone walks in there and they are drunk, I have seen it happen that, oh my gosh, they showed up to a meeting drunk. And I'm like, aren't they supposed to be here? That's what we're about. Mm-hmm. If they're disruptive, yes, ask them, hey, you want to step outside with me? I want them to come back, because if they're just there for 1 hour, they're off the streets and they're not picking up for 1 hour.
Yep.
And sometimes 1 hour can be a miracle.
It could have been that overdose.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what we're there for. We're there to help others. It clearly states it in step 12. So,
but for the grace of God, there goes I. I can't even imagine some of the things that I used to do.
But you take the guy doing that in a meeting that Mike's talking about, and working in treatment. Now, here's what you get a lot of, and I know Jill's dealt with this forever, but they don't want to be there, and so they're looking for an excuse to get
kicked out.
So this dude's doing what he's doing during a meeting, but then he's expecting everybody to throw him out, escort him out, yell and holler at him, and then he can go home and go, hey, I tried.
Right.
And when you don't do that, then they go, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this person not doing what they're doing? And they have to stop and think about that. And so,
Yeah. It's just, using simple empathy. How would I want to be treated in this situation if it was vice versa? I know that like I would hope someone would pray for me. So I do the same and handle it with care.
Well, I'm really glad that Bridget mentioned page 67. These are some of the things that I did not learn growing up. Right? Nobody normal does this. If I wasn't an alcoholic, never found AA or didn't know an alcoholic, didn't know anything about AA, there are people out there like that. These are things that I wouldn't think about. That when someone's mean to me, I'm mean to them. And even in the historic lessons all the way dating back for thousands of years, treat people the way you want to be treated. Right? I mean, unless you want to be spanked or something, I don't know about all that, but you can't necessarily do that, but you treat people the way I was looking at you, Dad. You saw me out of the corner of your eye, but you treat people the way you want to be treated, right? Golden rule.
Yep. Love it.
What is the golden rule, Jill? You do unto others as
you would have them do unto you.
There you go.
Yep.
And so if we can remember that some people, and a lot of these folks from the time they get to AA until maybe that first year, and we've had Chris on here, right? Good example. And then we had him on 2 years, right? 1 and 2. Their personalities almost completely change.
Well, it's the psychic change.
Yeah.
As a result of the steps.
Yeah.
And also to mention that love and tolerance is our code.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah. And you just the grace of looking back on things and going, what was I like when I got here, and what did I do and what did I see maybe with others that came in the same time as me and that kind of group of people. And yeah, I mean, it's funny, we expect everybody to give us grace and overlook our stuff, but then we immediately recoil because, oh, look at this person, like we're somehow better or and it doesn't work that way,
Well, a newcomer, that drama is alive for them in their minds. When you get here, you're in so much fog. You've come out of a whole bunch of drama, probably got in trouble. Whatever got you here, it was drama. Whatever got you here was drama. And so, I'm on the board of that same halfway house, and, they're full of newcomers. And so there's a lot going on all the time.
God bless.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, let's talk about it and let's breathe, first of all. And it's okay. They don't want to be there, but they have nowhere else to go. It's like, okay, but at the end of the day, you start seeing what a miracle it was to be forced to go somewhere for whatever reason. You lost your house.
Just got out of prison, got out of rehab.
Whatever. I mean, you start going, oh, somebody out there, a higher power was looking out for me. I get to be here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
We had a guy when I first started at the treatment center and did an intake on a guy, and he told me he'd been living in the woods behind an old store, right? Abandoned store.
I've heard I know a couple people that have done that too.
Yeah. And he looked and smelled like a guy who'd been living in the woods in a van down by the river. You know what I mean? Like that's where he was at.
Yeah.
And
Chris Farley didn't really foot the bill on that.
Yeah. I mean,
image.
Look, but I did his intake. So he gets up there, doesn't have any clothes, gets in the room. Next thing I know, the other guys are fussing. He hadn't taken a shower. He stinks. He's this, he's that. They're all just, so it's a big argument, And I go up there and I looked at him, and the main one that's talking crap about this guy, I looked at him and I said, how long you been here? He said, 9 days. And I said, I did your intake, didn't I? And he goes, yeah. And I said, you didn't smell real good either when you got here. I remember that. And you said you hadn't eaten, and you were living homeless. And I said, you wasn't smelling too good either. And all the other guys kind of started looking around. And I said, I know I did your intake. You stunk, And it got quiet real quick. In 9 days, okay? In 9 days, all of a sudden we're
all high and mighty.
Yeah, we're self-righteous. And how could this man? And I looked at him and I said, 6 years ago when I walked into a rehab with my stuff in a Walmart bag. I hadn't had a bath in a while either, hadn't eaten in a while, and weighed about 142 pounds. And you know what those guys did in there when I got there? Man, you need a T-shirt. You need a T-shirt so you can go take a shower. They could have treated me any way they wanted to, and not one person in there did. And I said, did anybody make fun of you 9 days when you got here and you were stinking? Well, no. I said, okay, well then let's pass that grace on down the line a little bit, and let's not all forget where we were.
We came from.
And so I said, how about instead of yelling at the guy, give him a change of clothes. He don't even have any clothes. Let him go take a shower. Maybe he ain't took a shower because he don't have any clothes to put on.
Right.
You know, and we have to learn to look at things a different way. You know, and but there again, it's we all been in that same boat, and it's funny how sometimes we forget that so soon.
I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I mean, like also, you know, with doing the steps and practicing all these new things, we start to learn how to handle things that used to baffle us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true too. And on page 67, right, going back to what Bridget was talking about earlier, it talks about fear and how fear should be put up there classified as like stealing, because it's just fear is like, you know, and I get it, resentment's number one offender, but when I did my 5th step and 4th step, everything kind of came back to fear.
Oh,
Exactly.
everything does.
And so a lot of
Always.
times the way we act that creates this drama is strictly out of fear,
Yeah.
you know.
And what's up to us in step 5, step 4 to figure that out? You know, where is this stemming from? You know, why am I doing it? What is my payout?
And you know, even with with those guys, the guy had been in there 9 days, and so I can get frustrated with things and the way people act. But then when I look and I go, wait a minute, they've been here 9 days. They don't have a plan to start to think, not yet.
Right.
So they got to have a little grace too. And so it all trickles down, and you go, where are they at in their life? Like, they should know how to treat somebody that way. You know, they don't, they just treat them the way they would always do.
That's all they've known.
Yeah.
That's what they know.
So, and I tell them that too. I go, you haven't learned yet the way that, but you will get there. But this is, you know, the advice with that. And, to be fair, this particular gentleman, I don't think he bathed the whole 30 days he was there, but that's beside the point. He had some other things going on, but, yeah, it amazes me though, how we come in and we think, you know, well, look at this person, like we're looking down at somebody, and it's just like, nope, I've been there. So,
And sometimes they don't believe us when we tell them we've been there. But hell, I sure wasn't born in AA. You know, whenever I was in high school, I wasn't hoping to someday be in AA. You know, I wasn't there wasn't on my list of bucket list. You know, being
Things to
AA. me make a string out of how long I can stay in AA. You know, it wasn't none of that. So obviously, we came in for a reason.
yeah, and it's funny that some of us do have that head in the clouds, I'm not one of these people attitudes, and I ask them, I go, hey man, how many of y'all when you rolled into rehab here, pulled up in a limousine with a white fur coat on, and your family's so happy with you and everybody loves you and you're just doing great in life, and not one hand gets raised? And I go, okay, then we're all in the same boat then. Nobody got here on a positive note. So, you know, we have to keep that in mind constantly. So,
All right. Well, anything else you want to add on here, man?
my little buddy Kylie is sat in with us today. Y'all
Yeah.
don't get to see her, but she's had her headphones on, and now I've put her to sleep. She's got her
Yeah.
head on the table, dead asleep. I have that effect on people, you know. So
Sometimes we all do, you know.
that's right.
You know, Jill, we have 125 followers. Last time we had a show, we had 123. So 2 more people have,
Excellent.
4,908 plays total in 1 year and 2 months.
Wow.
We average 45 plays per episode, and the audience size is 67 in the last 7 days. 67 people have accessed. And then 3,299 Spotify impressions. So not bad, you know, not bad. So that's, you know, I'll take it. How about that?
Yeah.
We get we still got Apple Podcast does 29.4% of our shows. Spotify is 52, and then people listen on the web at 17.6. How they do that, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I just know that on Apple, which we're no longer new to Apple Podcasts, but on Apple, you just go to the podcast, you search Grouch and Brainstorm, comes up with the little microphone logo, and you take that and you hit follow, and then every time we release an episode, boom, it pops up on your notifications if you have your notifications set for podcasts. So we got that new country in there, so thank you very much, St. Lucia and Amy. 34% female and 66% male.
Interesting.
Yeah, and there was some unspecified or some non-binary, but nothing. Right now, it's not anything on there. Here's a little tidbit. 60 plus is 12% of our listeners. 45 to 59 is 64% of our listeners. 14% come from 35 to 44, and 28 to 34 is 10%. Which means there's a lot of folks lying. No, I don't know about all that. I just know that we appreciate every listener. And so G and B Bozier at gmail.com, gmbbozier@gmail.com. You can reach us on our Gmail. Leave us maybe a tip for an idea you want to hear or something you want to talk about. We also have that line, area code 817-988-2530. You can call in and leave a voicemail. We'll play your voicemail on the air. We've only played 3 in our entire year and 2 months. But I'm still going to keep sending out the number. Eventually, we'll be flooded with calls, Matt.
Hey, and two, I've said this a few times, but you guys that want to tell your story and you got a story to come on here, and everybody has one, so don't think, well, mine's not that great or mine's no. We want to hear from you guys. If y'all hit us up there or on our phones, if you Instagram, whatever it is, we'd love to have y'all on here. So, and we'll pay you $0.00. Let's get that out of the way.
We'll FedEx you in if you're from out of town.
Yes.
There's some great coffee, though.
There's some great coffee. I'll give it that.
We'll let you shoot a snake in Jill's backyard.
Chicken killing or snake killing skills, or
So
And a potbelly pig.
yeah. So
whatever you can come up with, But if you want to tell your story, I'm with Matt. Man,
Yes.
just let Matt know, and you consider yourself here. We just have to coordinate a time. We can come to you. It may not be the best audio, but I think I can arrange it to where we can get some pretty good audio out of it, Matt. So if somebody wants to tell their story, can't make it out here to the studio, then let us know. Let Matt know, me know, Jill, or give us an email, give us a phone call. But anyway, I think that wraps up this episode, Matt.
Yeah, and thanks so much for joining us, Bridget.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Kylie, thank you for coming by, dropping by, and all the input. A lot of our listeners are gonna hear. So anyway, we've been at Rule 62 Studios right here in sunny Bossier City, Louisiana. Sunny. So until next time, this is Grouch and Brainstorm.